Okay, let's quickly take a look at our first topic for discussion. And of course, Occupy Lagos is a curtain raiser for the show because it trended not just Nigeria but all over the world. We're talking about more like relief of the NSAS protest. Police on Saturday arrested protesters at the Lekki toll gate for the reopening of the facilities to be suspended again. Momentum. The police had earlier on Friday launched a show of force exercise to express its disapproval of the planned protest. On Saturday morning, the police picked up anyone that suspected to be at the toll gate for protest. They also prevented journalists even from moving close to the van where the protesters were being held. And of course, as they were arresting them, there was a mobile court. They were arraigned at the court, including a popular comedian, Adebayo, popularly known as Mr. Macaroni. Let's start with you. It looks like the federal government still have not learned from what happened at the Lekki tollgate shooting, even though this is coming on a different dimension. The last time they allowed them protest peacefully for days. Of course, the shooting kind of threw the whole thing, open. This time, they were arresting them, even if you're anywhere close, or you have carrying placard, they are arresting you. What would you say about that?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think from the outset, it's important to reiterate that right to protest is a constitutional right, a fundamental human right protected under the Constitution. And the states, when I mean the state, I mean the government has no right to derogate from those rights except as required by law. It is an unfortunate development given what happened sometime in October 20th when the protest took a dangerous dimension. And it's unfortunate that the government, like you said, haven't learned their lessons. So I was a bit taken aback seeing the reaction and the posturing, particularly from the Nigerian police. They deployed hundreds of Nigerian police force members to ensure that the protest did not go on. And I quite frankly feel unfortunate that government in a democratic society should employ such a mechanism to undermine the right of citizens. It is a constitutional requirement, constitutional right of citizens, like I said earlier, to protest. So the government perhaps felt that given what has happened in October last year, they would not want a repeat of that incident. But the truth of the matter is that notwithstanding or without prejudice to the rulings of the tribunal set up by Lagos State government to look into the extrajudicial activities of the now proscribed SARS. It is obvious and important to know that what Nigerians are saying, in effect, which I agree totally, is that reopening Lekki toll at this time is premature. And indeed, it gives an impression that government has no sincerity or purpose. Much as I have no issue with the ruling, even though they have both the dissenting and the other side of the ruling. However, the citizens said part of the protest, or what engineered the protest of yesterday, was a demonstration of total lack of, perhaps they are not satisfied with the ruling of the tribunal to allow the LCC to continue to operate, while the principal actors, particularly the Nigerian army and even the management of the LCC, haven't come forward to give their own account of what transpired on October 20th. So citizens have rights to protest, to register their displeasure over the actions or inactions of government. I'm not saying that citizens should embark on actions that are capable of undermining peace of the state. But frankly speaking, from the outset, even sometime in last year when this protest started, it has always been peaceful. So I query the rationale behind the deployment of hundreds of policemen and women to begin to trample on the rights of citizens. It is unheard of. And this actually gives me an insight into whether or not we are in a democratic society. Because under a normal democratic setting, citizens' rights is a given. You have right to protest as far as it is done within the ambit of the law. So the Lagos State government, which appeared, for, as far as I'm concerned, and the outset sometime in last year, to be in support of the protests, you know, but you know, they said when something happens in the night and you begin to suspect certain reactions, it appears to me that government has no sincerity or purpose in addressing the citizens' challenges. People die during the protest. It's certain, and the proceedings is still ongoing. So it is a premature for the tribunal, with due sense of responsibility and without prejudice to the outcome of the ruling of the tribunal, it is premature for them to have acted in such a manner to to ask the FCC to open the toll fee, the toll gate. So citizens actually wanted to express their displeasure over the ruling of the tribunal, and I think it's really lies within their constitutional right to do so. So the action of the government is unwarranted, it is unconstitutional, and it is a breach of citizens' constitutional rights.
Okay, Barrister Shaw, without even the citizens' protest, and the panel was supposed to act at their discretion, but they should know that this kind of reaction will come for a place or a facility, as it were, that's still under investigation. Now, don't forget, we've had incidences where the army have refused to show up at the panel to give their side of the story, and it's an investigation that's still ongoing. Do you think the panel was right to have given LCC a go-ahead to reopen that toll gate?
Like my other friend has said, without prejudice to the integrity of that panel, because we have to show respect to that panel. Now, there are 9 members on that panel. 5 decided that the toll gate should be opened, while 4 wrote a dissenting judgment. Now, look at it. If you look at that dissenting judgment, a valid point was made by those who dissented when they said that the forensic experts that were appointed by the panel, but look at it, but paid by Lagos State, were not given adequate space to investigate LCC, particularly the video they had and some other vital things. So, in any matter, we know there are always 2 sides to any matter. But singularly, this point is a very, very weighty point to me. But since majority of them have decided to open it, we as lawyers, as Minister and Assembly of Justice, we will go along with it. If there to be an high court, it will be something for appeal. But now, we know that justice basically has 2 sides. We have social justice and what we call technical justice. You see, when the average man on the street goes away from the judgment of a court, thinking the judge was biased or unfair, that means that court is questionable. We are talking about a place where people died, whether or not the tribunals agreed, but the matter, the investigation is still going on. And the culprit here, the Nigerian army, that come out to tell lies to Nigerians, particularly on whether live bullets were fired or not. And they have been, the counsel in that case, and the plethora of witnesses have shown that live bullets were fired. And the army has come around to admit that indeed live bullets were used. Then number 2, the army has stopped coming to this panel, which is what? Is contempt of court. The army is not superior to any institution in Nigeria. We all watch CNN, we see the American army, the way they behave themselves when the Capitol was invaded, and shortly before President Biden was sworn in. They were patriotic. They did not allow the former president of America, President Trump, you know, to re-rule them. They stood by the American people. So what I'm saying is that to the average man on the street, that panel has not been fair in the way and manner it has rushed to open that toll gate.
Now, forget about the average man on the streets. Now, let's look at, we know that the panel is not a conventional court, which means it doesn't exactly follow the conventional procedures of a court. And the key word here now is discretionary.
Okay, you see,
the key word here now is discretionary.
Yes.
Now, didn't you think the panel members should have used their discretion to know that, okay, a lot happened. You know, lives were lost, years upon years of police brutality, and don't forget, we're also in a country that have years of military abuse.
Yes.
You know, putting all that together, you know, they still decided for a place or a facility that is still under investigation. Discretion.
You see, you use the word discretion.
Yes.
In law, discretion is allowed, but it can only be used in two ways: judicially and judiciously.
Okay.
Right now, we can say that the court has judicially used its discretion, but it has not used discretion judiciously, and that's why the people have gone back to the street. They are not satisfied. They are saying that that sport is tainted with the blood of Nigerians. If even say people have not died, what about the injured, the several injured Nigerians who have come down to that panel? So I think what has won here is capitalism. You see, the urge for filthy lucre, that this toll gate is losing money, and therefore they must open. What about the lives that were lost? What about those people that have sustained injuries? You see, we should not deceive ourselves. That judgment may be judicially right, but it is not judiciously right. And that's why people are angry with the decision of that panel.
Okay, is it judicially right though?
Well, permit me to say this. You know, the matter is still sub judice, as we were told. You know, it's still subject to the final determination of the panel. So I wouldn't want to dwell into what is still pending in the tribunal established by law. I can only say how I feel about the outcome of the ruling of the panel. You see, what the panel has, I have no issue. If the panel, in their wisdom, in my own view, in their lack of wisdom, decides or have decided that it is important that the toll be open while the proceedings is ongoing, that is for them. But the point I'm making, and I will continue to emphasize, is that much as citizens, much as you have given the position of the panel, which I believe is subject to appeal or review, I understand that a review has been filed to overturn the ruling of the learned tribunal. But beyond the legalese or the legal technicalities, I feel that what the citizens have come out to do yesterday was to register their displeasure over the way and manner the tribunal has given its ruling with respect to the opening of the toll. It really has nothing to do with whether or not anybody is not willing to accept the outcome of the tribunal. Citizens are saying that we are totally disappointed with the way and manner the tribunal gave a ruling that this toll be opened while the investigation or the proceedings is still ongoing. It falls within their constitutional right to do so. So my concern or my grieves lies with the actions of the police and the security agencies. Yes, given that tribunal has said open this toll while we are still on this matter, of course, according to them, there was no order to close the toll. Granted. But citizens still have the right to express themselves. It is the expression of their displeasure.
Sorry, there is no order to close the toll. Isn't the order supposed to come from the panel, you know, with what is going on in that place?
You know, see, there is ways to look at this.
Okay.
People died, even if it's one person that died on 28th of October. It is enough. So we are trying to find closure to what happened on 20th of October. Who ordered the armed military to invade the protests? What is the role of the LCC? Who turned off the lights and all of that? How many persons died? What were the activities of the non-proscribed SARS in the years? How are victims going to be compensated? Or how are they going to be assuaged of the losses? These were part of the reasons why the panel were set up.
Okay.
Now, people are saying you ordinarily ought not to have opened the toll because that toll is an evidence on its own. Do you understand the point?
Yeah.
So why this action of the tribunal was viewed to be in the interest of the state against those who lost their loved ones? People said, let me come and protest that I'm dissatisfied and in fact I'm ashamed by the outcome of what has happened, by opening the toll. These things, whether rightly or wrongly, is within the rights of citizens. They have right to protest, and I understand that they were arrested and indeed charged to, you say, mobile court?
Yeah, to a mobile court.
The mobile court, is there a mobile offense? You say it's the COVID-19, whatever. Well, I'm not privy to the charge.
Anyway, we will talk about that. Now, when this panel was set up, of course, there were a lot of skepticism from Nigeria, which is understandable because of the number of panels that have been set up over the years, and do you think Nigerians are justified to be skeptical about this panel with what has just happened?
Initially, I think the panels were set up after the meeting of governors with the vice president. And some northern states even said they were not ready for any panel, that they had no issues with SARS. That they wanted SARS. But at the end of the day, I think 29 states went along with it. Kebbi, Kano, Zamfara, and Co. did not bother to set up this panel. Some people have actually argued that they are in breach of the law of Nigeria because that thing was set up with the blessing of the federal government of Nigeria. They let everybody go and set it up so that people who have issues with SARS in their states can come out and ventilate their grievance. But that was not done. Now, out of all these states, it appears that Lagos State is Lagos panel is most vibrant one.
And the most volatile one.
And the most volatile too, because this is the epicenter of the whole crisis. So I'm not going to condemn the panel. The panel has achieved, some reasonable feats.
What feats exactly?
No, individuals. It's an individual thing. You see, people have come out to ventilate their grievance. You understand? That in itself is something laudable. You understand? With all what happened in South Africa, what was set up? A reconciliation and peace panel was set up in South Africa. You understand? With all what happened there.
But this is hardly the same
you see,
situation.
Virtually is the same. It's a question of rights that have been breached. That is the sum of the two situations. Now, people have come out. You understand? They have ventilated, their grievance. Number one, that is itself a relief for them, a psychological relief. Then number two, issue of compensation. You understand? Follows thereafter. They are going to be compensated. And I think, wait.
The facility that costs
no. It goes beyond the Lekki toll gate.
Okay.
This panel, you understand, the ambit of his powers goes beyond the Lekki toll gate. We are talking about people whose rights have been violated by the SARS over the years. We are not only talking about the Lekki toll gate. You understand? So it's something to do about fundamental human rights, specifically talking about SARS. So the panel has done a little bit. They have tried.
Do you agree with him? Because in as much as it goes beyond the Lekki toll gate, the Lekki toll gate is like the freshest of years.
Yes, I have maintained this over and over and over again, that the protest goes beyond the NSAS or the opening of the toll.
Definitely.
It is indeed a reflection of the disenchantment of citizens on the part of their leaders. They've lost little support And of course, everybody is suspicious of each other. Of course, that's why you see that the panel has given their ruling in one way or the other, whether rightly or wrongly, and people decided that they should come forward to register their grievances. It is well within their right. It is important to make this point that since 2015 till date, it appears, with the greatest respect to the judiciary, that the executive, other arms of government seems to be subservient to the executive. You see what happened yesterday. It is not new, and I know at the end of the day, all these things will trickle away. During the October 20th massacre or protest, I was involved in the representation of those who were arrested. And the aftermath or the outcome of the whole thing was laughable, because these people were eventually charged for armed robbery. They were protesting peacefully.
Wow.
All of us in this Lagos knew where those peaceful and legitimate protesters were, particularly at the toll. They were charged for armed robbery, they were charged for arson, they were charged for conspiracy. Over 30 persons were charged in Oba for conspiracy. I was part of the legal team that represented some of the defendants. And it appears, with respect to the judiciary, that for me, it is like a given. They have already have the mandate to put these people behind bars. We advocated that the magistrate court, first and foremost, doesn't even have jurisdiction to entertain matters on this nature. Capital offenses, magistrate court in Lagos have no jurisdiction. We countered those arguments. We also said that these people have rights to bail, that the offenses, even there's nothing magical about capital offenses. While I was giving this argument in court, the magistrate cut me short with greater respect to him, and went ahead to remind all those people in custody pending the outcome of the DPP at the Ministry of Justice. I went and filed a summons for bail at the High Court. Do you know what? From October to date, I have not had a date for the hearing of the bail application. Is it not over 4 months now? So it tells you that the entire system is a mess, with greatest respect. And that is why I'm particularly happy with the position of the Nigerian Bar Association, particularly with respect to the president of NBA. You know, they have taken things above what we are used to challenge some of the actions or inactions of government. So for me, it is a total loss of democratic values. As far as I'm concerned, Nigeria is not a democratic state.